Shalom. All praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Harakah Kadash. God wants the elder apostles, a great millstone, and roll wall, and Shalom. To the brothers in the work, in truth, pushing his word to full corners, man. Shalom, Shalom. Just wanted to go have a bit of John 4. It's a funny little exchange. It's kind of, you know, relevant. Relevant because, you've got these just criminal doctrines trying to be brought in by these different lads, the referring to them as themselves as Israelites, and it's really really the core of it stems from is that they've basically not received the spirit of not received the full light of the truth, man. Because I'll read it. John 4:7 says, "There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Yahushua saith unto her, Give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no mere dealings with the Samaritans." And yeah, that's because, bulk of the heathen have been put in there. And, these separations were, plain as day. Because these guys are straight up heathens, but then it's like you have to consider it was even a contention with Israelites who'd been functionally branded as heathen anyway, where they were branded as heathen, where they were treated as heathen because of how they conducted themselves. They became as Greeks, or they might have just been raised out in Elam after the Persian rule and whatnot. So they would have been conducting themselves as heathen. Even for them to deal was a contention with the bulk of the circumcision. So what does it say? Yahushua answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of the Most High, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldst have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. Yeah, that's the thing is the significance of what's available was lost honor, but then it wasn't for her to get. And it's the same with in this time, people where it's like the significance of what Yahushua has done, and the offer as well, for you to really get caught up with really where it is like respect to a person's. Say with like Genesis, it's like, bro, they've chopped up the doctrine, bro. Like, if men are teaching madness, if men are going off, rebuke and reproof is what is needed. You can't just be like, oh, but they're Hebrew. It's you go back to the time of Yahushua. Like, all the people in the land knew they were Hebrew, they knew they were Israelites, but then just knowing you're an Israelite isn't enough. There was more to it. And, really it's receiving, the gift of faith, man. The ability to believe. Because some that it was given to, then there was huge swathes of the populace that didn't get. So it says, the woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? So, looking at carnally, just thinking like, oh, you just like, you ain't even got the bucket and whatnot. Like, how, what's going on? And that's, how some people might look. They might think, damn, these guys are just on the street. These guys are just bums. But, even with all the worldly goods, Again, you get the under, you go to these guys in the world that might have all the what's it called, man? The worldly like markers of significance or wealth or whatever. Like these guys, can you get the truth from it? Oh hell no. Oh hell no. Um, Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well and drank thereof himself and his children, his cattle? It's funny because Yahushua was Isaac, so yes, Isaac was above Jacob and was, the father of Jacob. Passed the blessing down as well. So that's an amusing statement. But then it says, Yahushua answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again, but whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water, springing up into everlasting life. And yeah, these, that everlasting life, that blessing, that's really what, a big part of what this is about. But then that's built off believing in Yahushua, that he came and what he came to do. And a lot of, there was those people that even knew who he was that still resisted, like, which is fucking crazy. But it's not a light thing. Because a woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Yahushua saith unto her, Go call thy husband, and come hither. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yahushua said unto her, Thou hast well said, I have no husband. But thou said 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. In that saidst thou truly. So yeah, you caught out playing the harlot. So the woman saith unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Yeah, recognizing she's been caught out. Our fathers worship this mountain. You say that in Jerusalem, in this place where men ought to worship. Yahushua saith unto a woman, Believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship ye know not what, for we know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. And yeah, that's as plain as it is. You worship you know not what, and that's the same. That's the same thing. It's that's kind of the core of it. You got people that are IUIC, where they change out the name, and then start dealing with Jesus Christ and that. I mean, it's like if you're dealing with a Jesus Christ, then you're not aware of what this what this is about, because you're gonna plainly know there's no way. Back in what was it, when Yahushua was up on the cross, I believe it said it was what, in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. So it was just speaking Hebrew, and none of them languages had no J, bro. So how's it some Jesus? And then plainly, whose salvation's for, man? There's one, one nation, one group. And even John 1 makes it plainer as well. It's like Luke 1. Luke 1:68. It's like whose salvation's for, who he came for. These things are plain. That's kind of the bedrock. Because, again, like Revelation 2 sets it, Revelation 2 sets it for, was it Revelation 2? Revelation 2 sets it who the, what's it called, man? The nations, part of the reward. You get the crown, you get the scepter, you get the rod of iron, and then what? It's busting the head of the heathen. That's part of the reward. So, it's Nan's talking about, the heathen have their form of salvation. Now, these things are core and essential. But, let's say, but the hour, verse 23, but the hour cometh, and now is when true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. The Most High is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And yeah, and that's funny. And the guy come up where it was like, he knew MOTB was like, okay, we asked him, he said, the C hit, which is good, but then it's like to go to Yahushua's image. As soon as you bring out he's a so-called black man, they're like, oh, what does it matter? What does it matter? Because you're thinking about that white boy, bro. Okay, now, bro. That's that whole Jesus Christ name is tied to that white boy, and that's what why they'll resist, why they'll fight against it, because plainly they're just invested, man. They don't want to hold like, grr. Don't want to let go, man. It's their favorite bit of white meat, man. And that's just part of the doctrine, bro. It's in the revelation, like what we talking about here. But that's the the plainness of it, and that's why it's like being on point matters with these things. Like you can't play with a name. It's some of the simplest things. But it's funny. The woman saith unto him, I know the Messiah cometh, which is called Hamashiach, which he is when he is come, he will tell us all these things. She just had it broken down to her, like, well, yeah. So she should already known, but Yahushua saith unto her, I did speak unto thee am he. Now, this is, she didn't even realize, the scope of who she was dealing with. It's the same thing with, this word. These are, as far as how we're taught, it's what continue down the things you've learned. There's a manner in which you deal with these things, because why? We're like the shit's plain as day, man. Fucking hell, it's kind of funny. Yeah, kind of fucking insane, actually. Huh. But it's there's people Yahushua was dealing with in the flesh. They saw miracles and they still resisted. So it's really not a marvel in this time that you're gonna have people that just can't get. And as far as for the heathens part in it, bro, it's like the heathens part is as an inheritance. Ask of me, I'll give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. They even have played their role, man. Now is the end. It's what Jacob is the end of the world. Sluck. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Now is that last kingdom. They had the time of Esau had the time of the Greeks and the Romans to do all forms of madness, which they did. But now it's the second leg of the Roman Empire. This is their last time to wreak havoc, to do chaos, to do madness. Then they've been given, those technologies to magnify up to, 100x. 100 times more insane than fucking, they were able to do as the Romans. So now they got, technologies, they got means to, levels of weaponries. The Romans' military formations were part of what? was legendary when the Romans were on the scene. Now you got airstrikes and no fly zones. Now you got your economy relies on big shipping containers moving around the globe, and they can just come and say, "Nah, that's not moving, bro. Now you're done. You're cooked." Man can just do airstrikes and blow people to hell. These are the things he's been given. What's been done with all those things? Nothing but madness. Consolidation of more control and power in these things. That's what he desires. But you know, all that being all that's been done is still to his demise, because as far as his word's still going out, his truth's still coming out, and as far as he's still tied within the bounds of prophecy, he still has to basically fulfill and what the Most High has given him to fulfill, which he's doing. And that ends with what? Esau being the end of the world, man. And the heathen, as far as they're bit players. They're on the outskirts. Isaiah 60, they're going to be part of the reward. They're going to bring their goods, and they're going to witness to, Israel, the elect's salvation, man, 144,000. And those, and the elect as well, man. But yeah, just a bit of that, man. I'll leave it there, man. Shalom, shalom, shalom.